Yuk kita simak tayangan spesial Sumpah Pemuda.
Assalamualaikum, hi everyone, nama saya Ayunda atau panggilannya juga Ayu. Of course, aslinya dari Indonesia, tapi lahir dan besarnya di Ontario, Canada. That's why bahasa Indonesianya aku isn't the best, but I will try my best. Currently, I am studying at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, British Columbia at the Sauder School of Business, specializing in marketing with a double concentration in business law and international business. So I know what this means through my family, especially my dad, and I know that the main message is no matter how many thousands of islands, hundreds of cultures, languages, no matter how many religions and different people there are in Indonesia, we are one country and one community at the end of the day. And what that means to me is even though I was born in Canada and I never lived in Indonesia and I'm very far away, I still feel very connected to my Indonesian culture and tradition and heritage because of how strong the community is and how proud people are to be Indonesian. It's so important to me, penting sekali buat Ayu to keep my Indonesian identity as close to me as possible. Especially because I was born in Canada, so far away, and I never lived in Indonesia, to make sure that the traditions that my parents grew up with, my parents' parents grew up with, keeps going for as long as possible. So this means even when I'm all the way in Vancouver, away from my family and my mom's kitchen, that I'm still cooking as much Indonesian food and as much Indonesian recipes as I can and that I remember. Making sure that kalau ngomong sama teman-teman di sana yang orang Indonesia juga, practicing my bahasa as much as possible to make sure that when I have a family of my own, that I can pass down my Indonesian culture and to make sure that it keeps going as strong as possible for as long as possible. So how I give back to my community is actually through my job that I have in Vancouver. Kalau di Vancouver, aku kerjanya jadi tour guide di UBC, di Universitasnya Ayu. And a lot of the times, student-studentnya, murid-muridnya yang di tournya Ayu itu dari Indonesia. Murid-murid yang mau jadi international student di UBC, mau jadi international student di Canada. And it's a very impactful process because I'm able to give them advice about what living in Canada actually feels like, what that looks like. I can tell them what the challenges of living in Canada are, what the best parts of living in Canada are, and give them the necessary information that they need to make the best decision for their future. As youth, we are creating the world that our kids and our kids' kids will live in, which means that it is so important for us to be as kind as we can and as generous as we can to the world, so that the world can be as kind and as generous back to us, as well as all the generations after us, which makes it so important to be an agent of change. My one message to the Indonesian youth of Toronto is that orang Indonesia itu orang yang bekerja keras dan berambisi. So never underestimate yourself or make yourself feel small. Be bold, be brave, be strong, speak your mind, take up space, and show people what being Indonesian really means.
Halo sahabat Salam Indonesia, kali ini kita akan menyaksikan acara welcoming party untuk mahasiswa Indonesia di Toronto dan sekitarnya yang diselenggarakan pada hari Sabtu lalu tanggal 28 September 2024.
sahabat Salam Indonesia, perkenalkan aku Nijma Syaira Izzati Arif, biasa dipanggil Nijma. Aku dari Jakarta dan sekarang kuliah di University of Toronto St. George, jurusan Social Science, dan aku baru first year. Kesan pesan aku untuk acara hari ini seru banget. Aku nggak expect ternyata sebanyak ini orang yang datang. Terus juga gamesnya seru, interaktif, dan benar-benar ngebangun chemistry dan teamwork antara satu kelompok. Pokoknya thanks lot untuk PERMIKATO. I'm really looking forward buat ikutan acara selanjutnya. Bye bye.
Halo, nama saya Samuel. Saya sekolah di UTSC. Major saya Management and IT. Saya berkesan kalau acara ini dari PERMIKATO sangat berguna bagi kami Indonesia. Apalagi orang-orang yang tidak sering bergaul, kami bisa ketemu orang-orang yang lain yang sesama Indonesia, jadi ramah dan sangat baik. Dan di sini plus poinnya dapat makan yang sangat enak.
Halo, nama saya Daniel. Saya kampusnya di U of T, Scarborough. Majornya itu Computer Science. Terus kesan-pesan saya di acara Welcoming Party ini lumayan seru sih. Terus ada makanannya enak. Terus jadi bisa ketemu teman-teman Indo yang dulu. Terus bisa buat teman yang baru. Pokoknya seru lah. Game-gamenya juga seru. Semua seru.
Halo sahabat Salam Indonesia, nama saya Gabriel Reyes Tumeang, Presiden PERMIKATO tahun 2024-2025. Saya adalah mahasiswa dari University of Toronto St. George untuk jurusan Master of Civil Engineering. Dan pada saat ini kita baru saja menyelenggarakan acara Welcoming Party untuk mahasiswa Indonesia di daerah GTA, Greater Toronto Area. Dan tentunya harapan besar kami dari acara ini adalah untuk bisa mempertemukan dari seluruh mahasiswa Indonesia, baik yang baru datang ataupun yang sudah aktif, untuk bisa saling berkenalan. Acara hari ini kami sungguh senang karena begitu banyak mahasiswa Indonesia yang hadir dan puas dengan keberadaan acara ini, dan kiranya ini dapat menjadi awal yang baik untuk acara dan perkumpulan mahasiswa Indonesia di Toronto untuk kedepannya. Terima kasih.
Hi everyone, my name is Hasna Fiza. People usually call me Hasna. I'm a fourth year at the University of Toronto St. George, double majoring in international relations and public policy. I think Sumpah Pemuda is truly a testament of how youths can create, a wave of change in our society, and clearly at this time it was it disrupts a lot of the elite dynamics that shape the Indonesian independence movement. So it's such a profound historical moment that we are proud to look back on. I think there are many ways to maintain your Indonesian identity as an Indonesian youth living in Toronto specifically. There are many, organizations that you can be involved in, and I think community is a central part of Indonesian student life, at least in my experience. You can join the Indonesian Students Association in Toronto, which is this GTA-wide student association, or you can join ones in your respective campuses. You can volunteer for the Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia for their events. We have an annual food festival every year. It's always such a fun time, right? So I think the door is always there. The door to engage, the door to maintain your Indonesian identity is always there. Like, it's definitely not difficult. We are quite a sizable population here in Toronto. It's just a matter of putting in the time to reconnect with people and come to Indonesian events, because as you know, students, you get busy with school and extracurriculars on campus, but do always stay in touch with your Indonesian communities here and meet new people. Always stay open to a lot of the opportunities that these communities offer through their events or volunteering opportunities. I was part of the Indonesian Students Association in Toronto, or PERMIKATO, in my first and second year of university. So I joined in my first year as a public relations officer, and then I was elected as president in my second year. So it was a fun and exciting 2 years of organizing student events and initiatives for GTA Indonesian students. Other than being involved in the student community, I'm also actively volunteering at KJRI. Mostly, for the most part, I do, MC things, MC gigs, I guess you can call it, moderating and whatnot. And it's really fun as well. I think I learn a lot from those opportunities, and I'm eternally thankful for all the leadership positions and opportunities that have been given to me through PERMIKA Toronto and through KJRI, which are two main avenues in which I contribute back to the Indonesian community as an Indonesian youth. As to why I decide to do it and why I want to get involved, really it's out of just wanting to get out of my comfort zone. I think when I started my first year, I didn't really have a lot of leadership experiences prior to that. So joining an organization and sort of training my leadership capacities through being part of that organization was really, really significant to my personal development, professional development as well. And later on, being given the other opportunities of MC gigs and moderating is also another way to sort of expand myself in terms of just being a better conversationalist and public speaking. So that's first, personal and professional development. But second of all, it's out of the desire to just communicate and interact with other Indonesians around here. I think when I first came to Canada my first year, there weren't that many Indonesians, but right now, every time I walk on campus, I would bump into some other Indonesian, which is fun and exciting, but something that I definitely was not expecting in my first year. There are just so many Indonesians now that I wouldn't be able to comprehend in my first year. So that was primarily, those two reasons were primarily what underlies my motivation. How did they ignite their own version of change? I think that we can borrow a lot of concepts and movements, ideas that we can implement to solve our current problems, be it within our own community or also in the broader sort of society that we are also part of. So it's really important to be involved, and I would really encourage all young people to seek that avenue for participation, and then always stay involved in wherever you are. In keeping the spirit of Sumpah Pemuda, I just want to say Selamat Hari Sumpah Pemuda 2024 untuk semua anak-anak muda di Toronto. Don't be tired of becoming a force of good in your community and in the society, and know that you're never alone in this effort. I hope that the Indonesian community could be one of your main avenues for contribution, and hope to see you someday or bump into each other at Kajeri events.
Salam Indonesia. Persatuan Mahasiswa Indonesia di Kanada Nasional pada September lalu mengadakan PERMIKA NAS SUMMIT 2024. Kegiatan ini merupakan ajang merekatkan persaudaraan dan memperkuat identitas sebagai bangsa Indonesia di Kanada. Selamat menyaksikan.
Certification by PMI or Project Management Institute.
The boys experience college. Pray for the day they can save enough money to recycle their wallets. And once deposits had fatter pockets, they would invest in commas and fly to a city right near Toronto. 2 bedrooms with a little leg room in a city called Mississauga. It's a mutual agreement shape I am. I don't wanna be a perfect, I care better be the weakest link.
Socialize with your peers, and then being active in a student organization and everything. But back then it was like more about the student.
So during that 4 years, I always had this mindset of, okay, school is important, but it's like 40% of it. 60% of it to me is more like I had the habit of trying to attend.
Terus berkarya untuk teman-teman mahasiswa Indonesia di Kanada.
Hi, I'm Gede PERMIKA NAS SUMMIT. Call me Dean. I was born in Makassar, 7th of October 2004. I study in the undergraduate degree of the Honorary Bachelor of Science. I specialize in astronomy and physics, and I am with the PERMIKATO, Persatuan Mahasiswa Indonesia Kanada Toronto. I believe that by acknowledging what we are and what we were, we are able to fight just like back in the day. The fight for our country has not ended, and we shall strive even more. I am employed by the Indonesian government to study at the University of Toronto. I am on a mission to go back to Indonesia and improve the lives of the people at home. Therefore, I am obligated to care about whatever is happening back home and to gain as much knowledge as I could here and transfer it for a better Indonesian future. Now, I am affiliated with the Indonesian student associations. I am the head of student engagement at the Persatuan Mahasiswa Indonesia Kanada Toronto, PERMIKATO. And I do believe that we bring people together and to remind them that it's not so distant. Therefore, I believe that I contributed enough. Well, I do my own act of giving back to the community through, one of them would be volunteering to help the Indonesian communities foster in a foreign country. The Indonesian Diaspora Network have major events every year, and it's not singles. I helped with the Indonesian community in Ontario, and I with my team create events in which Indonesian youth. Therefore, I find that by gathering Indonesians, talk about Indonesia, and fostering Indonesian efforts in a foreign country, in foreign countries, is a good way to contribute to the Indonesian of giving back to the community. And what I mean by community is not only the local ones, foreign. I'm talking about our community as an Indonesian citizen. So whatever we do here, we bring the name of Indonesia. We are rather improving the name of Indonesia, or the opposite. So I would say that whatever Indonesia is, we are representing here. Whatever good we do, we are representing Indonesian governments, Indonesian people, Indonesian cuisine, Indonesian culture, and the Indonesian manners. I believe that we bring major impacts on the view of Indonesia abroad. I think that being an agent of change would mean that you have to be responsible for a change itself. Therefore, I do think that it's very important for youth to settle on a notion of right and wrong, to discover what it really means to contribute to change and being an agent of change, and it's very important, yes. And lastly, my message to young Indonesians in Toronto in keeping the spirit of Sumpah Pemuda alive: keep on striving to share, keep on striving to know, and keep on striving to contribute to Indonesia. I wish you all a very well Hari Sumpah Pemuda.
Nasi nombor adalah makanan khas Batak, Sumatera Utara yang berbahan dasar ikan mas atau mujair. Rasa yang kuat, gurih, dan pedas. Nikmat loh! Secara tradisional, daun singkong ini ditumbuk dengan menggunakan lesung dan alu batu. Rasa pedas dan gurih dari makanan ini sangat menggugah selera.
Sampai jumpa di tayangan berikutnya.